Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all doing all. Put my teeth back in. Hope you're all doing okay and had a great weekend. So it's that time of the day. It's storytelling again. Now, if you joined me last week, you'll know that we started a new book and it's called The Unmumsy Mum. And it's written by a lady called Sarah Turner. And as I was telling you last week, if you joined me, I've read this before. I've read it a couple of times, actually. It's really funny. It's really relatable. And it's not just for parents. It's for anyone who's really had to look after children or, so grandparents, carers, dads, anyone. And it's just, the sort of hard truth about what it's like with small children and babies and all the things we go through, really. So I shall continue where we left off on Friday. So get yourselves comfy and off I'll go. My baby wearing incompetence. Have you tried baby wearing? Sorry. 3 months into motherhood and I still had that rabbit in the headlights look whenever anybody asked me a baby-based question. This particular mum was being helpful. I had been complaining about my baby who would not stop moaning unless he was in some sort of way attached to my person. And she was offering a potential solution. Putting him in a sling or a wrap. Oh, that. I've been calling it baby carrying, like a complete novice. I would soon discover that my limited knowledge of baby carriers, i.e. the ones with clips and buckles your parents had in the 1980s, did not even scratch the surface of this baby-wearing movement I would be introduced to. A whole new world of woven wraps and infant slings and back carrying I never knew existed opened up to me. It's not just about sticking the baby in a baby born and walking out for a quick dog walk anymore. Hell no. There are baby-wearing websites and organised sling meets and Facebook pages for sharing baby-wearing tips and accessories. Mind blown. Having received advice from some very kind mum friends, including my stepsister, who is a baby-wearing pro, I purchased my first wrap. I say wrap, but what I actually purchased was a piece of material not too dissimilar from one of those fabrics aerial gymnasts hang off. I'm not shitting you. It was at least 300 yards long. I remember thinking, what the hell have I taken on as it unravelled? But I had it covered. I'd witnessed mums using these slings and wraps before, and on one occasion, 2 proficient baby wearers had even given me an impromptu intervention, wrapping me up in one of their wraps. It looked pretty simple. Something about finding the middle of the material and making sure the edges weren't twisted over one shoulder, over the other. The slack could be adjusted before something got tucked somewhere. How hard could it be? It probably isn't hard, but I was clueless. By the time it had arrived, I'd forgotten everything from that informal lesson. And when it came to our first baby wearing trial, I resorted to the font of all knowledge that is YouTube. I vividly remember standing in my kitchen one evening with the iPad propped up on the worktop, watching a video of a very calm woman using a doll to demonstrate the ease of a simple FWCC. That's a front wrap cross carry to you and me. I tried following her steps in real time, but as I stood there, getting sweatier by the minute and entangled in sling material, I changed tactic and started pausing the video at crucial moments. Finally, I'd done it and braved positioning a slightly startled Henry in the wrap I hoped was the perfect imitation of the woman's in the YouTube clip. I called James in to assess my achievement. Ta-da! Does it look like hers does from the back? I asked him. He looked at the paused iPad and the woman's neatly wrapped pretend baby, and then back at Henry, who was housed in what can only be described as a baggy mess of material. The woman's baby was snugly tucked in against her chest with just the optimum amount of slack. Mine was slacker than a slack sack, 100% still talking about the wrap. And Henry was suspended awkwardly somewhere around my belly button, crying. I took a deep breath in, removed the baby, put the video back to the beginning and begged James to help. We'd tackle this bastard wrap together. Let's be having you. It wasn't the most exciting video we'd ever watched together. Steady. And the pair of us attempting to wrap a crying baby that evening in the kitchen was one of our earliest. How the hell did this become our life moments? My baby wearing incompetence was so ridiculous it should have been funny. LOL and at least one ROFL. But I wasn't laughing. I had sweat patches. In fact, I got so agitated and flustered that the YouTube kitchen masterclass culminated in me crying, standard, and attempting to throw the piece of shit stupid wrap on the floor. I didn't even manage that convincingly because I was still tangled up in the bloody thing. My armpits feel hot just thinking about it. Some weeks later, I cracked it. Well, I cracked getting Hemi into the wrap, provided I had 20 minutes spare and was standing in front of a mirror. I still looked like a sweaty octopus as I launched the material over my shoulders, but I got better at adjusting the slack. It was initially a bit of a revelation, to be honest. Free hands, no cumbersome pram crashing into shop doorways, a squishy little face free to vomit down my bra without anybody noticing. But I never got any better at the unwrapping and rewrapping when out and about and under pressure. I just wasn't skillful enough. I used to find myself leaving Costa with a partially wrapped baby and achy shoulders, or standing by the boot of my car, having parked up somewhere, attempting to adjust the all-important slack and ending up in a state of sweaty distress. They should add wrapping baby slings to the "sure it won't let you down" advert. So my baby wearing career was a short one. I later dabbled in a few further slings, wraps, carriers, including a side carrying contraption and a fabric crossover one which fastened with Velcro, but I fell out with and swore at them all. I still look wistfully at other baby-wearing mums and dads as I crashed the pram into somebody else's ankles outside TK Maxx and think, I need to revisit this. But after our most recent attempt, an expensive clippy contraption that Jude hates, he tries to beat the shit out of my breastbone whenever he is in it, I think I'm done. I'm told no single baby wearing option fits all, and I'm sure there is a suitable alternative out there for me. Perhaps I just haven't found the one. Perhaps I should burst out of the comfort zone and drop into a local sling meet for advice on trying pocket wrap cross-carrying. Perhaps I've never recovered from the crushing sense of failure experienced during YouTube kitchen wrap gate. More than likely, I just can't be arsed. Part 2, life, but not as we knew it. Your day versus his day. Why nobody is winning. When morning comes around, I sometimes look at the day stretching out in front of me and think, oh God. James's alarm goes off, he gets up, has a shower and gets ready for work. My alarm these days is Henry, who loudly shouts, "Are you awake, mummy? My pyjama bottoms are wet. I can't find my fire engine. Can I have some Weetos?" If I'm particularly lucky, a series of recorded minion farts will be the first thing I hear when I wake up, as the fart blaster from Despicable Me 2 is activated next to my head, waking Jude, who promptly performs his first dump of the day. FML. And so the morning circus begins. Have a good day, I sneer at my husband as he leaves the house, on time, without juggling a car seat and pram-based combo into the car, without worrying if he's got enough baby wipes and a clean muslin that doesn't smell of cheese, occasionally listening to actual music on an iPod. Bastard. Back in the land of the living room, at least one half of my offspring is kicking off, and I am left wondering whether 8:35 is too early for Toy Story 3, or whether I should wait to see what's coming up on Lorraine instead. And more to the point, I'm left pondering the same daily conundrum. What the actual hell am I going to do with them all day? You don't appreciate how lucky you are going to work, I tell him. I wish we could swap. Maternity leave housed the worst of this resentment. But even after returning to work part-time, my 2 days off often prompted some spiteful comparisons, and I still find myself getting proper mardy towards my full-time working spouse. In theory, this part-time pattern is only temporary, to see us through the baby years. But I'm 4 years in now, and it doesn't feel all that temporary. My weekday pattern has morphed into something unrecognisable from just a few years ago, and his has not. This irritates me. The problem is, I know it irritates him too, because the flip side is he's working his arse off 5 days a week and I'm spending 2 days at home with our lovely boys. I'd happily swap, he tells me. I'd love to work 3 days a week. He isn't being spiteful or provocative when he says this. He genuinely likes the idea of a part-time working week. Ha! You have absolutely no idea, I scoff, and on it rumbles. Well, I've come to realise that an ongoing "my day is harder than your day" debate is ridiculous and pointless. It doesn't make either of you feel any better, and it's largely unfair to all concerned. When I was on maternity leave for the second time, I began to grasp that my jealousy about his freedom to leave the house had been somewhat ill-informed by the memory of what working life was like before we had children. Work may well be like a holiday at times, and I bloody love working, but it is still work. And with a baby plus three-nager at home, James has to get through his working day on significantly less sleep. Then, after work, when his shift is finished, he doesn't return to a tidy, quiet house, put on Sky Sports News and have a cold beer, like he sometimes used to when I was working late at the bank. He comes home to me, stressed. Me sitting scowling amidst mountains of shitty plastic toys and probably a shitty nappy, telling him how much I hate being at home, how much I hate my life, the dramatic license of arguments. Telling him I'm at breaking point, and no, I don't know what is for tea because I haven't even had a shower. At times, I would simply show him a video recorded earlier in the day of one or both of the children screaming and comment, "My whole day." I'm surprised he didn't sign up for an additional evening job. I think the penny is now dropped that I need to curb this almost boastful "my day was worse than yours" carry on. I've never really achieved anything by giving my husband shit when he comes through the door. Every now and again, I just feel hard done by and want recognition that I have drawn the short straw. I want him to get out his ruler and confirm that my straw is shorter. I need him to get it. But equally, he is fed up with hearing my persistent whinging and wants to remind me that he has been at work all day. Wow, lucky you. And on it goes. The thing is, on reflection, I know I have been a bit unfair. It is true that on my home days, he does escape at 8:25 and he can listen to music on the iPod, although he's dicing with the risk of Let It Go and or Hakuna Matata on shuffle. It is true that I'm sometimes bored to tears by 9:25 and I can't cope with Jeremy Kyle anymore. I struggle to get past the lack of teeth and the fact that two toothless people had sex but seemed surprised it resulted in a baby who they've named Mercedes Lee. It is true that there are genuinely many days I would rather be at work. But none of this proves that my husband is winning. I'm sure he really does wake up some Monday mornings, look at the week stretching out in front of him and think, I wish I could stay at home. His jealousy of me is just as valid as mine of him. But all he gets is me dismissing his feelings as ridiculous, telling him how hard it is at home, and reiterating that he has no idea. I'm not exactly wrong in that assertion. He doesn't have any idea what being at home with 2 kids under 3 all day, every day for months on end is like. He's never had to do it. But that's not really his fault. By the same token, I don't really know what working full time and coming home to Hurricane Wilf and surrounding devastation is like either. In the hardest of my maternity leave months, I often forgot to even ask how his day had been. It might have been awful. I was too busy instantly offloading the full breakdown of the reasons my day had been horrific. Reasons my day had been 10 times harder than his. Reasons he had already heard in an abusive, sweary text early in the day. Texts like, I'd rather be a bin lady than deal with this shit. Don't phone me at lunch. I've got nothing nice to say. Where are you? Text me the moment you leave. You need to pick up nappies. I couldn't even get to the shop because they've been doing nothing but play up like twats all day. You better not be late. I've had enough of your kids. These are actual texts, not proud. I text when I feel compelled to text, which unfortunately tends to be when I've gone off on one. Such messages aren't a balanced view of the situation at all. I have plenty of great days, just me and the boys hanging out, that never make the text message edit, bar the odd token WhatsApp picture of them on a steam train. Sure, I moan about my days off, the midweek ones especially. But even for die-hard work fans, there are benefits to being at home. Sometimes it is the better deal. On top of the summer sun and catching up with friends and extra cuddles, there is something undeniably liberating about being a master of your own schedule on the days you are not at work. If you choose to, you can simply decide at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday that you fancy a trip to the library and go. Admittedly, you won't get there until 4 p.m. because it is impossible to leave the sodding house in less than 90 minutes. But to a certain extent, you decide what you do with your time. It's the kids who roll the behaviour dice and decide how successful that outing is. You still answer to somebody, but the boss or bosses breathing down your neck are much smaller and can be bribed with raisins. I feel I should add at this point that what I am writing is based purely on the dynamic in our household. This isn't a sweeping generalisation that the mum of the household is at home on kids' duty more than the dad is. This is often not the case. It might be the other way around. You might be in a same-sex marriage where it is not her versus him at all. You might both work full-time. You might both work part-time. You might be a single parent. Hats off to you all. But if you share our dynamic, perhaps the grass really isn't greener on the work side. Some days it is, some days it isn't. Some days one of you has a distinct advantage. Some days you both lose. The only certainty is that unless you are genuinely considering addressing the work-home divide and reallocating roles, the constant "my day has been shittier than yours" debate could roll on forever, which doesn't help anyone. What has so far proved more helpful is to crack open a bottle of wine on Friday night and agree we've both had a hard week. This promotes a feeling of solidarity, and there's wine. Everybody wins. Important notes for the worker. If the baby is teething or if anybody at home is poorly, you definitely have the better deal being at work. Don't pretend you have any idea what it is like to take a crying baby to the doctors for injections, accompanied by a toddler who has switched to arsehole mode. Truly, she has lived through hell that day. If she is having a moment, cut her some slack. She doesn't really hate you, or the kids, or the house, or her life, but she is at temporary breaking point. Those abusive, sweary text messages aren't her new hobby, but sometimes she can't stop herself. Sometimes she doesn't know what else to do. Don't sigh. In fact, on those days, it's sometimes best not to even breathe near her. It's nothing personal, but she might want to smack you in the face. Finally, never, ever ask what she's been doing all day, or if your work shirts have been washed. She hasn't even washed herself. You know where the washing machine is. And for those holding the fort at home, I know it's bloody annoying when he says, "But I've been at work all day." But he has been at work all day. And he never ever gets to sunbathe during toddler nap time, or watch Loose Women in PJs on a Thursday, or meet a friend for coffee and cake at the library. Just admit it. There are some small perks. Although, James, if you're reading this, I know how hard you work, but I think we could just agree that being at home is a teeny tiny bit harder, and that buying wine and or making me a cup of tea is the least you can do. In return, I'll try and stop giving you shit via text message. Let's talk about sex, baby. Are we having sex tonight? Transparent questioning from James. I don't know. Are we agreeing sex in advance nowadays? No, I just wondered if I should Sky Plus some of my programs. Right. Well, I don't know. That's a no then. It's probably a no. Okay, in that case, I don't need to record wheeler dealers. Cuppa? There are no two ways about it. Having children changes your relationship. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. And sadly, sometimes forever to the point of collapse. When I blogged about the post having children relationship dynamic, I received several my post having children relationship dynamic was divorce comments, which, though offered in jest, did seem to prompt an assortment of "me too, the bastard" type replies. For many of us, I think the relationship is just different. Despite my crazed and irrational meltdowns, James and I continue to get on like a house on fire. I'm not one to plaster, "love you, baby, you're my rock, my soulmate, you complete me," all over Facebook, because I could, just tell him that. But I have realised while writing this book just how fortunate I am to be married to such a good egg. Throughout all the disastrous toddler mealtimes and the sleepless nights and all the other shit, sometimes actual shit, sometimes the shit that is on the floor, we often find ourselves crying with laughter or enjoying a moment in the kitchen when we dance to songs on the radio while doing the dishes. God bless Heart FM for churning out songs like "Entrances Set You Free" and Charles and Eddie's "Would I Lie to You?" Absolute classics. It's true, I moan about the kids a lot, I know I do. I moan because it's just all so bloody hard, isn't it? Have I said that yet? But how we are, how our marriage is, what having kids has done to us is genuinely not something I need to grumble about. We're all good. Nevertheless, the boys have brought them some changes to our relationship, and I reckon we're not alone. Slack pelvic floor and emptying boobs. I definitely underestimated the impact that growing and birthing small people would have on my body. Those interesting physical developments that can strike both in pregnancy and post-birth. By post-birth, I fear I may mean forever, because some of the changes I've experienced are highly unlikely to be reversed without a trip to Harley Street. I always find any mention of post-baby body hang-ups really grating, so I give the celeb mum loses mum time in just 7 days, front covers, the one-fingered salute while muttering, "Oh, go away," whenever I'm in Tesco. I certainly didn't lose my mum time in 7 days. It took me the best part of a year to level out at my pre-baby weight. But I suppose I haven't fared too badly at shedding those pregnancy pounds, if you discount the fact that I'm still wearing Mothercare M2B pyjama bottoms I purchased during my first pregnancy, mainly for comfort reasons on days I find myself pregnant with a Galaxy Minstrels baby. But post-birth body changes are not all about weight loss. And to be honest, weight, as in actual pounds of flesh, is probably where the similarities between my pre and post-baby body start and end. I get told, "You've got your figure back and you wouldn't even know you've had children," quite a lot, which is really flattering. But these people haven't seen me naked. They haven't shared a car journey with me and had to stop 4 times because I'm going to piss myself. My body knows I've had children. Trust me, it knows. Hidden beneath those genes from before, high five, the signs are all there. That said, I've heard from women who've experienced pretty major complications following childbirth, so I count myself bloody lucky to be functioning normally. I therefore don't class my physical developments as hang-ups at all, and have in fact started to accept them simply as changes. Changes which, unsurprisingly, resulted from growing half a stone of human, then pushing it out of my vagina twice. So my post-baby body observations are just that, observations about my own body. I hope I never bump into any of you, ever. And if I do, let's just agree we'll all pointedly forget I've shared far too much information. Here we go. Henry and Jude basically ate my boobs. It is a bit of a shame, as when I was pregnant and breastfeeding, I had a reasonable cleavage even without my bra on. I kind of wish I'd taken some pictures or got one of those god-awful DIY belly and boob casting kits. Christ, I'm really sorry if you have a cast of your pregnant belly and boobs hanging in your hallway next to a giant canvas of your heads from your wedding. It's just not my cup of tea, but I digress. Anyway, my page 3 boobs were short-lived, and at present, I'm quietly confident I could fit my tiny empty sacks into the 28 AA trainer bra from my pre-pubescent teenage years. More than a handful's a waist, apparently, which is just as well. You'd fit both of mine in one hand. I'm not overly bothered, actually. No real issues about having tiny man pecs, though I really do need to go and get myself measured and buy myself some new bras. Is Tammy Girl still around? Because you could, quite honestly, house small family pets in the vacant spaces in my bra cups. So long, ample C-cup breasts. You served me well. Right, we're going to finish there for today. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to be doing my reading every morning for the rest of this week. And then, yeah, Friday's our festive program because we're breaking up for the Christmas holidays. So I will be back with you all tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed that. And I will see you all very soon. Bye.